And the reason why is because, see, in high school, they preparing you for the workforce because you have to get up in the morning at between 5 and 6 to get ready to go to work. Then you work all day, and then sometimes you may have to work overtime. That's the sports. And then and then you go home, and then you tired. But see, and then what they don't tell you is, oh yeah, when you actually start working, you don't have spring break. You don't have summer vacation. They don't tell you all of this, okay? And it didn't help for me that my very first job was at a private school. So the first year outside of college, outside of high school, my first year outside of high school, I still had my regular schooling schedule. And then I started working for a lady from the school. And when summer break came, I was like, okay, well, I'll see y'all. And my boss was like, wait, what you mean? It's like, I'll see y'all in August. And she's like, no, baby, you work now. This is year round. It broke my heart. Mind y'all, I was 17. I was 18. I was 17 when I started working. I was 18 when this happened. And it was a culture shock for me.
I remember that first summer, after high school, first summer of my first year of college, that I worked in the summer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just, and so I tried to cut it short. So I had, some weeks. I took over a lady who, her job, so she could be with her kids in the summer. It was her full time. And so that's what I was studying. So I went in and did her job for the summer. But I felt like I was missing out, and that first job you have too, you're really tired. It's like, it's a long day.
It really is. And then my crazy tale discovered going out.
Oh yeah. Then you'd be out late. I never did that. I wasn't into that scene. Even in college, the whole door would be empty, and I'd be sitting in my
room. I discovered that the club is open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays.
Well, this is a lesson in let's be entrepreneurs instead of working for someone else, right?
Man,
pick your schedules.
I think that's what did it, Miss Susan. I think that's what did it. But then, and that slid me into, now we're sliding into what we're talking about today, because being at work and having that schedule and not being able to control what I did during the day, because I had to work, because at the age of 20, I had my own apartment because I was grown. And I didn't like Miss Susan said, I didn't like that. So because I couldn't control what I did on a day-to-day basis, or I felt like I couldn't control it, I became a perfectionist. Since I can't control that, I'm going to control the house. I'm going to control my relationship. So my house had to be perfect. My relationship had to be perfect. I was one of those people that Antonio said it before. He'll tell me, go do that OCD thing you do. Well, it's not that it was actually OCD. It was actually the fact of I didn't control anything else in my life. So what I can control, I'm going to overkill. So the house was bleached. The rug, the carpet was vacuumed, but it had, the lines had to, it had to look like that fresh vacuum look with the lines in it, like the fresh cut grass with the fresh vacuum rug.
step on it. And then my mom would do that, and then we weren't allowed in there. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Walk around on air? She literally wouldn't let us step on the carpet.
But then not only that, the dishes had to be put up a certain way. The bathroom had to be clean. Yeah, Grace. So I had the cabinet. These certain glasses went here. These certain glasses went here. This size plate went here. This size plate went here. All the plastic cups were up here or down. Our plastic cups were down here. All of my cups were up here. And they were up here, so nobody else would touch them. Everybody always reaches for what's closest to them. My cups are up here. Don't touch my cups. I don't care if I have 25 cups and all the other ones is dirty. Go wash one out. Don't touch my cups. They mine. Because I collect cups. I like cups, especially the big cups that you could eat soup out of too, or ice cream or cereal, like the one I have in my hand. Yeah, those kind of cups. Then the closet had to be organized a certain way. All of the jeans in one section, all of the slacks in one section. Then my shirts, it was the dress shirts, and then they were organized by color. Then there were the t-shirts, they were organized by color. And then there were the cute shirts. Ladies, y'all know what I mean when I say cute shirts. And they were all organized by color. So the perfectionism in my head stemmed from not having control over things that I felt like I should have control over. So I know I can control this. So since I'm going to control this, it's going to be perfect. Then my perfectionism came from the fact that I felt a certain way about myself. So I had to portray a certain image of perfectionism so no one saw my flaws. And we live in a culture of perfectionism, and it can be harmful to us. Perfect story. Don is 8. And we had an incident at school. He got upset. He threw some scissors on his desk, and they just so happened to bounce up and hit a little girl in her forehead. Now, first off, that's a problem. Secondly, the fact that he threw the scissors was a problem. But third, his anger level. That's what I wanted to get to the bottom of. Why did you get so angry? Because Gracie almost did a Jesus. Actually, no, he did do a Jesus. He flipped the desk too. But not in that way. So I asked him questions. I had a few different conversations with him because I addressed each one of those that I just addressed that I just told you guys. I addressed each of them. But the one that I want to point out is why he got so angry. Now, first off, mommy knows his anger comes from mommy. Epigenetics, it is real, okay? I am sitting here and telling you that epigenetics is real. My son came out with anger problems. He came out pissed. I have the pictures to prove it, okay? His facial expression was, is going on. He just got this look like, I won't be here. What the hell? You know how long I suffered up in there? Because the umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck. So he'd been trying to come out for like a whole day and couldn't come out. So whatever, and that's the other thing that I've been trying to see is like, what trauma did he experience because of that very thing? So not only was he dealing with the epigenetics of mommy got anger issues and ready to fly off at everybody, but then whatever trauma he went through trying to come out of the canal, but get choked every time he tried to come out, I know that was trauma in itself. And for a long time, it was hard to put shirts over him or take them off of him, because when they got stuck and they covered his face, he spazzed out. But that anger, trauma or not, he was coming with that anger. And that's what I wanted to get to the bottom of. So I asked him, I said, what made you so angry that you threw the scissors? And he told me, he said, I was cutting something out and I was doing it perfectly. Then I messed up and I cut inside the line and into where I colored, and it made me angry. And at that point, I knew that whatever perfectionism issues I had, I just automatically passed it down to him. And I sat there with him. I said, Mommy wants you to repeat something, because I understood at that point that came from me. I said, repeat after Mommy. Nothing is perfect. And he repeated it and repeated it, but he was repeating it because Mommy said. But mommies know, well, parents know when kids finally catch something. So I had him keep repeating it and keep repeating it. Oh, I had him repeat, it's okay to not be perfect. That's what I had him repeat. And when he finally got it, I let it go. No, I let that aspect go, because we addressed the other stuff. That wasn't sliding. That was not sliding. But he was so on being perfect and doing it perfectly that he instantly got angry. And that wasn't the first time that happened. The second time it happened, he was playing games and he was getting every, they were playing a game in class and he was getting every answer right. And the moment he got the wrong answer, he flipped out because he wasn't perfect. So perfectionism, there's no such thing as being perfect. There really isn't. And when you try to be perfect, it is absolutely harmful to your well-being. And there's no way that you can transcend inconsistency by being perfect, because there is no perfection in inconsistency. It's inconsistency. There's no way. There's no freaking way you can be perfect in inconsistency. So how can we resist the pressures and create this culture that celebrates growth and progress instead of this perfectionism that we can't reach? One of the things that we can do is educate ourselves. The first thing we can do is educate ourselves. But let's talk. Let's talk. How many of you deal with perfectionism? Well, I'm going to say suffer with perfectionism, because you ain't dealing with it. Yeah, me too, Grace. Me too. Oh, was y'all, who was the kid who, when you were doing your homework and you messed up one time and erased it, and because it didn't completely erase, you ripped the paper and started all over again?
Me.
Okay, thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm not alone on that one. Now the one thing that I have not done, because I figured out how to maneuver that, is when I'm cooking a meal and I mess up, I'm not gonna lie, if I had extra ingredients, I would throw away what I messed up and start over. But I don't do that now. I just get creative. I baked a whole cake and put the icing ingredients inside of the cake and didn't realize I did it. Did not real. It was my very first 7-up pound cake. So the pound cake and the pound cake had the tanginess of the icing inside of it. I mean, it was good. Shoot. It was still good. But that's how I've learned to cope with my perfectionism. I just get creative and do something else. So for those of you who, okay, if you say you are a perfectionist, how do you, oh, go ahead, Trinace, before I can even finish the question. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hold on, I got somebody at my window.
I was just about to say, she probably can't. Well, until she comes back. I have had to, well, the first thing I had to do is I had to stop lying to myself and tell myself, Deanna, no, you're not perfect. You are not flawless. You're fabulously flawed. And that's okay. You are perfectly imperfect, and that is okay. And then I had to come to grips with being imperfect. I mean, I was the golden child. I was the first child for my parents, the first grandchild for my mama's parents, the baby for my daddy's parents. And then all of my mom and dad's, well, all of my dad's friends, like who were men, like I was the niece. And because of the relationship with my dad, I was spoiled rotten by them too. Like I had all these uncles who just thought I was just the bee's knees. And then I had my mama. I was the first child. She straight told me I wanted you. I was ready for you. And if any of you know, when someone say I wanted you, yeah, you was made on purpose, okay? You was made with intent. So here I am, the intentional baby. No offense to my brother, but I'm the intentional baby, you know. I'm the golden child. And then I just intentional. And then on top of that, I'm my grandparents' first, like I got the honor of naming my grandparents for the rest of the cousins to follow. Like, and then, no offense to my other uncles and aunts, but my mama was my grandfather's favorite child, which made me the favorite grandchild. I mean, come on, like it was just in my favor, y'all. It was just in my favor. So I couldn't do no wrong. I couldn't do no wrong, okay? And growing up with the mindset of I'm perfect. I can't do no wrong. When you do you know what that does to the mind of a narcissist? Like, I'm the bee's knees, honey, and combs, okay? You bow down to me. And then here came my brother. And that's when the true me came out. Because you taking my shine. Wait a minute. Every time I walk in the room, everybody happy to see me. But now when I walk in the room, they ask me what my brother is. Oh, you got me messed up. So that mindset growing up created this ego that I'm perfect. So since I'm perfect, everything I touch is perfect. And I have to control everything because I'm perfect. See, I'm taking perfectionism in a whole nother way because we don't really think about the mindset behind perfectionism. There are some who have mental conditions where they have to do certain things a certain way. My cousin has a mental condition to where he cannot touch doorknobs. So you have some people who have a mental condition where things have to be a certain way. Like when we were talking about desk, Mr. Phil, he has the pile system. He told us that. But me, I told y'all, I know when somebody moves my stapler. That can't be healthy. Not in a work environment. So if you are an entrepreneur, can you imagine how that culture of perfectionism is affecting your work environment? Does it allow for your employees to have the freedom to be themselves? Does it allow for the pile system? Does it allow for them to be able to take a break and go meditate if need be? Does it allow for the culture of your company to does it allow for change? Because if you're a perfectionist in your business and someone comes to you with feedback about something that they got, are you going to be open to receive this feedback that could possibly make your business greater? In the culture of perfectionism, there's no such thing. We live in an inconsistent life, and perfectionism will knock you off your horse every time. So I'm going to pass it to you guys. For those of you who are perfectionists, for those of you who know perfectionists, and y'all know them. When you walk in their house, they're like, take your shoes off. Don't sit on the couch. You know, if you move the couch 2 inches, they come behind you and move it back, all because you accidentally bumped it. When you put the dish in the wrong side of the sink, they come right behind you and put it on the right side, or they clean it and put it up, and you sitting here like, dude, I just finished. I'll come back to that cup. Go ahead, Trinae.
Okay, so when you said the handwriting thing, I do. And I can't write on blank paper either. So I have to draw like these little flowers on it, and then I can write. But the other thing about the writing is I will start off clear, nice handwriting, but when it starts getting messy, I know that's me processing whatever it is I'm trying to write down. So I usually will stop and then maybe do something and come back to it. Because then at that point, my brain is clear, and then I can write again, and then I throw the whole paper away because now the idea is clear, so I can go back and write the whole idea in nice handwriting.
I thought I was the only one that did that. Thank you so much. Like there are pages on here that there are pages that I've ripped out of my tablet. I have a tablet that I write in every day. Helps me keep in line with what I've completed, because at the end of the day, when I go look at it, I can either commend myself or cuss myself out. If I got 1 or 2 things on that paper, I need to cuss myself out because that means I was not productive. But if I have like 15 things on there, and then I go back and I look at those 15 things to see what they were, to see if I was just being busy or if I was being productive. And then sometimes I start the day off and I don't like how it looks. So instead of erasing it, I rip the page out and I start over. So thank you, Trinae. Thank you.
So the other thing, I texted Antonio yesterday. I know he thought I was crazy, but I have these One Authentic Woman wristband. I got like hundreds of them. And the way that I used to use them is I would write down what I wish to accomplish. It takes 21 days to create a new habit, good or bad. So I put the wristband on and I focus on what that habit is. And I pay attention to what that habit is that I'm trying to correct. And if I do that thing, I switch the wrist. And that means I got to start all over again. 21 days, start again. So it helps me focus on what my goal is. And every time I air quote mess up, then I just switch the wrist and start all over.
Now, I actually like that concept. I don't think that's perfectionism though, but I like that concept because you're retraining. That's your way of
But
retraining your
But
subconscious.
the perfectionism thought comes in, damn, now I got to start all over.
Ticket number.
No, I get it because don't nobody would have thought over.
Please proceed to station
But I do like
24,
that concept though. You should definitely teach that one day
721.
and how you do it.
Please
Because
proceed
for
to
some people, they need like
station
a visual. They need like a visual reminder. But for some people, they can just go
Please
about it.
proceed to
Oh,
station
it's purple.
14.
Hey, purple. Sorry, that's my favorite. It's one of my favorite colors. Purple and blue.
But
But
then
thank
the other part of it is, like you said, people need a visual. I have this ring. I haven't worn it in a while because my hands have gotten a little bit too fat. But I wear the ring because it's a reminder to be my best self every day. And whatever my best self is today, that's just it today. It could be better tomorrow. It could be worse tomorrow. But whatever it is, it's the best in that day. So I used to wear that. I need to lose some weight so I can wear my ring.
On G2. Please proceed
I do
to
understand.
station 6.
That struggle is real. I do understand. So I love that. I love the band thing. I'm gonna have to consider that too. So when it comes to perfectionism, thank you, Trinace, for sharing that. Thank you so much. So now I'm opening it up to everybody. Do you consider yourself a perfectionist? And if so, where do you think it started?
Deanna,
Yes, ma'am.
I had to give that up when I had 3 kids that were like Phil.
I don't mean to laugh.
They were running around like crazy. And then he's, would come in from traveling and, everything would be everywhere that he had. So, but my mom was a perfectionist. And so I kind of got it, but I didn't really like it. And I don't think I've ever totally been one, but I like things to look nice, but I don't care if it's not, or when people come in, I don't think about any of that. I just want to have fun with them and have them have fun. So I think there are versions of it.
Mm.
Yeah, and maybe select things, but sounds like you are an all-out perfectionist. And I don't know if you still are or if you've let it go.
I've been slowly letting it go. The kid helps. The kid helps because you cannot be a perfectionist with the kid. But what really triggered it was when his dad told me, I don't feel like I live here. I just feel like I'm a guest visiting. That's when I knew I was doing too much. Because the entire house had to be a certain way. So every part of that house was me. So when he said, everybody has that end table next to the bed that there is their junk spot. I used to clean his because I couldn't stand looking at it. It was like, it's too much. But there was nothing wrong with his junk spot. It's our house. It's his junk spot. But when he told me, he said, I don't even feel like I live here. I just feel like I'm visiting. That did something to me and it let me know, okay, Deanna, you're doing too much. You need to let up. So I let his junk spot be his junk spot. And it would be junky for weeks, months. And then one day I got off of work and it was clean. And I was like, oh, you cleaned your junk spot? He said, yeah. He said the rest of the house was clean. And I didn't like how it looked compared to the rest of the house. I would have had to clean it up. But it was on his own will. It wasn't because I forced him to. It wasn't because I was being the perfectionist and everything had to be perfect. That's what triggered it. And then with Dawn, nothing's perfect with the kids. You're never the perfect mom. You're never the. I can't even begin to explain trying to be a perfectionist with kids. It is impossible. They have their own personality. You can't control the personality of another person. He's not a kid. He's not a blank slate. He came out with a personality. So trying to control him is like somebody trying to tell me, sit down, shut up, don't move. And I'm like, what you not gonna do? Just tell me what you do. You ain't doing that. So it's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better. Now but I had to understand within myself that you're not perfect. You put on this air of perfectionism because you don't want anybody to see your flaws. So I had to come to that, to be okay with being perfectly imperfect. That's the best perfectionism ever for me. And it's just being perfectly imperfect and being okay with that.
When did that happen, Deanna? When did you come to those terms?
Ooh, over the last maybe couple of years. It took me that long to get to a point where, okay, and it was a journey. Like I'm still on that journey with being okay with being imperfect. Because I was taught, this is how you are at home. This is how you are in public. You show perfection in public and you let it all out at home. So now there is no home me. There is no public me. There's just me. And it took me a while to get to that point because I was still in that teaching of what goes on in this house, stay in this house. So if I cuss you out at home, when we go out in public, we're going to be the perfect couple. Don't play with me. That happened at home. Don't nobody need to know. Or I need help, but I'm perfect. Perfect people don't ask for help. So suffer in the silence and figure it out for yourself. And don't ask for help, because if you ask for help, then it shows you're imperfect. I'm to a point now, I reached out to Grace and asked for help. I was going to reach out to Melissa and ask for help on something too. But before I got to her, me and Antonio talked and he said, no, just let it be like that. I was like, shh, you ain't said nothing but a word. I was like, man, you just made this process like 50% faster. But I'm learning now to ask for help, because to me, help is weakness and weakness is imperfection. And we are not doing that. So it took me about a year and a half to 2 years to get to this point. It really did. And it's been a journey. Let me tell y'all something. That dash in between the beginning and the end is a mother. Woo. So who else has dealt with this culture of perfectionism, and how have you resisted the pressure of perfectionism, or how have you worked through your perfectionism issues? The floor is open.
Well, my perfectionism always goes back to, I don't like looking stupid. If I look stupid, I look weak. You're not gonna humiliate me in front of everybody, make me look like, no, I'm not doing that. What are we doing? Okay. So yeah, no, not today. I just didn't I didn't like that. And because I didn't like how that made me feel, and it was, it was one day I was at home and I was thinking on something. And then I left out of the room and my mom and dad were still in there. And dad was mocking what I said and he didn't know I heard it. And I was like, oh, okay. So we won't speak proper anymore. I'll speak like the rest of y'all do at this house, So yeah. So I stopped speaking proper or proper English, you know. So yeah, I didn't like how that made me feel. So okay. And I understand what Dawn nephew is coming from with the anger.
Oh, baby. I
So-
did him dirty, Grace. I did him dirty.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, I think my anger came from she made me look stupid. I got mad. And so yeah, no, you're not gonna make me look stupid. So that's where the anger came. I just got that today. So yeah, that is where my anger came from. I don't like no. I'm smart, I'm not saying I'm the smartest, but I am smart and I'm not dumb, so don't make me feel that way. But that's where it came from. I am working on it, and because Deanna tells me all the time, you're relaxed. It's okay. You ain't gotta be. No, it's okay. Stop being serious. Antonio tell me, stop being serious all the time. Take a joke. It's okay. But yeah. So
Do you mind if I ask some questions?
good, man.
Okay.
Hey, real quickly, so I can put Antonio's date on my calendar. I bought my ticket last night and I'm at work and I want to take the day off. So what day?
August 17th.
The
August
17th.
17th. It's a Thursday.
Okay.
Oh, and Grace, if you can drop the link for anybody else who want to go ahead and get their tickets, it's August 17th, and you will receive your streaming link 3 days before the conference starts.
Sorry.
No. Don't apologize. Please don't apologize. Thank you. August 17th is a Thursday. Oh, it's actually 2 weeks from today, y'all. Who is gonna be fly? Look, I'm excited. Oh, okay. So here's the other thing. I used to get angry with Antonio because I enjoy being his student. But when I'm put in a work capacity, like to take notes or anything like that, or to record or anything like that, I felt like it was pulling me away from being a student. So I used to get angry at him because you're taking away from me learning. You're taking away from my perfection as a student. And that bothered the crap out of me. But now it's to me take these. Well, actually, no, that's not what it is. When Grace takes notes, I absolutely love Grace's notes. And the egotistical narcissist in me, Grace, and I've never said this to Grace before, the egotistical narcissist in me used to get upset because I realized Grace took better notes than me. But all throughout school, I was told I was the best note taker. So Grace is taking this perfection from me because I'm the perfect note taker. But then I sat back and I was like, wait a minute. Her shit is organized. It's like, shoot, her notes better than mine. So I wait until now. I wait for Grace's notes. So I can take, and then I don't know if Grace noticed, I started trying to take notes like Grace because her notes are perfectly structured. Like she'll have, y'all have seen her notes that she posts. She'll have like what the subject we talked about, the points in the subject, and then the points within the points. I'm like, dang, how did she get all of that in perfect order? Because man, my notes are like my brain. And that's the Grace knows how my brain is, y'all. That's why she laughed so hard. Like my notes are like my brain. Like Antonio will say something here and I'm like, cool, I got it. And then he'll go and say something here. And then he'll go say something here and then he'll come back. And when I tell you my notes are here, 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 and not in the structure, and once I told myself, Deanna, you're not perfect at everything. There are people who are better than you at things, and that's okay. Once I got that into my head, I actually got excited at Grace's note taking, because when I can't get something or I miss something, I just go to Grace notes because they are that perfect to me. So instead of me trying to be perfect, I embrace the perfection in someone else. And that's another way, Miss Susan, that's another way that I got over it. When it's something that I'm not perfect in, I embrace the perfection in someone else in that. I embrace Grace's perfect. To me, Grace's notes are perfection. Cause if you ask me for notes this day and age, yeah, your stuff ain't gonna come out right. Y'all have seen, if you go on Facebook and you pay attention to the notes, you'll notice the difference in when Grace took notes and when I took notes. There's a huge difference there.
Yeah, Grace does a great job with taking the notes.
Man, it's like it's like Grace's notes are like the outline for a book. You can take her notes, put it into Chat GPT, and it'll spit out chapters and bullet points. That's how good Grace's notes are. So instead of me sitting here and not paying attention because I'm angry at the fact that Antonio asked Grace to take all the notes because she's such a good note taker, and I should be the one taking all the notes, I embrace the fact that I even tell Grace, I'm not taking notes today. I'm just gonna go back to yours. Because I embrace, to me, because her notes are perfect, I'm embracing the perfection in someone else instead of knocking myself for being imperfect.
Deanna,
Yes, ma'am.
you being a big kid and a perfectionist, the big kid in you was having those feelings about others with that, but now you've elevated yourself to another level so that, even though you're a big kid and a perfectionist, you've learned how to control both of them. The big kid, hey, I got to get this stuff done and I need to do it. And over here, you're a perfectionist and you know that you need to do those things. So it's really, they're conflicting each other. To have both of those is very strange.
Now you see my struggle, Miss Susan.
Yeah. I see it. I felt it. I've witnessed it. I've embraced
it. And that's when it's so important for you to not lie to yourself and to be completely vulnerable and authentic to yourself. So what Miss Susan just pointed out is the story of my life. Every day, for as long as I can remember, there's always been a clash. I've even been told, we all know who Sheena is. I've even been told by Sheena, she told me, she said, you're weird. She said, you hate structure, but you crave structure. She said, how is that? And I'm like a walking conundrum. Like I'm this huge kid who doesn't, I hate rules, but I have to have rules in place for structure. So I'm learning how to, but that's because I've been lying to myself all of my life. The moment I started being authentic with me, when in my conversations with me, was the moment I started finding some sort of balance in the inconsistencies of my life. See, to me, there's no such thing as balance. Something's always going to be off somewhere. But when it comes to your mind, body, spirit complex, they each work within themselves, but you have to keep your body healthy. You have to work on your perception and your mindset, and you have to have a spiritual journey. Now, if you have all three, then you're on a great path. But you don't have to be perfect in all three. You just have to just do all three, be on the journey for all three. And when I started that journey to a journey of integrity within myself, that's when things started changing. And that book, Integrity, really slapped me upside my head. If y'all have read it, if y'all have been in previous leadership classes, you know what book I'm talking about. You know, that whole was your wake? How do people feel when you leave the room? I found out not everybody's happy. Not everybody hates when I leave a room. There were some people that were happy when I left a room. And that did something to me because I'm perfect. What are you talking about? So I had to, Miss Susan, I had to stop lying to myself because I hate rules. But as a big kid, I need structure, and structure comes with rules. But the older I get and the more I follow Antonio's teachings, the more I realize I don't need structure. I don't need rules. I just need to be. And in being, it's embracing the perfection in someone else. Because I'm not perfect. Grace is tinier than me. I got a problem with that. But that's okay. Because I like to eat. I've always liked to eat. But I don't like working out like Grace works out. I don't like doing that.
I don't like eating right like you do. So maybe we
See?
can help each other. Maybe we can help each other.
Come on. Because Grace be hitting them. I don't like working out next to Grace. Because Grace will do some stuff. And I'll be like, you got me messed up. And then I'll be doing the same stuff. And then Grace go and do something extra. And I'll be like, you got me messed up. So I have to go do what Grace just did. I'm competitive. And then I wake up the next morning and I can't feel the lower half of my body. I'm not doing that, okay? And Grace says she don't like to eat healthy, and I understand. But I have figured out a way to eat healthy, and it tastes good. I got you, Grace. I got you, my friend.
Okay, we got each other. Because I just started this wall Pilates. It ain't no punk, okay?
And
Yeah.
I want to do wall Pilates.
Okay, well, come on.
I like working out like that. I don't like. Again, embracing the perfectionist. So I wouldn't have known she was doing wall Pilates. I've been looking at all these apps and everything. I'm like, that looked like I could do that. And I like how her body turned out too. I thought, yeah, I can get rid of a couple of, little extra. I'm just saying. But when it comes to perfectionism, there's a few things that you can do because it's a mindset thing. Perfectionism is a mindset thing. So there are a few things that you can do. You can educate and raise awareness. You can start raising awareness about the negative effects of perfectionism on mental health and well-being. Like we just talked about several things that are negative effects of perfectionism. Grace says she don't like feeling stupid. So she gonna be perfect all the time. Mine was an ego thing. And because of that ego thing, I knocked other people's perfection because it wasn't mine. I hurt other people in my perfection because I had to have control. So education and raising the awareness of the negative effects of perfectionism on mental health and well-being, if we start doing that, then we can greatly deal with the inconsistencies of this life. And then another thing we can do is if we promote self-compassion, have compassion for yourself. Every day is a growth process. Every day, every single daggone day is a growth process. Every day. So have compassion for yourself. Grace says she don't like feeling stupid. So she said from that day on, she's like, I'm not doing that. But if she has compassion for herself, I'm saying we, because a lot of us do this. We just don't admit it. But a lot of us don't like looking stupid in public. A lot of us, go ahead, Grace.
You said you had some questions. I don't know if your questions are still there, but that was when Trinae said asked about the conference.
Yeah, no, ma'am.
They go.
They're
All right.
gone.
Okay.
They're gone. Oh, thank you. I remember them now. Okay. So what steps did you have to take to get to where you are now when it comes to not want to look stupid in front of people? And then when you felt like you look stupid in front of people, it made you angry because you're not that same person. Like you are absolutely not that same person. So what steps did you take to get to where you are now?
Oh, it was the point of repeatedly hearing people tell me, hey, in order to grow, you gotta look stupid at one point in time because you don't know what you're doing. You gotta learn. So yeah, a baby looks stupid when they're learning to walk, but they don't feel like they're dumb. They just say, okay, let's get back up, do it again, and they just keep going. And it was just, the constant people on here. So I knew it was source saying, hey, you need to hit us again. It's time for you to hit us again. Hey, in order to, you're gonna have to look stupid in order to, to get where you want to go, because you're learning how to get there. And, there's no cookie cutter way. And even if you do have a plan, that plan not gonna always work. And so when this part of the plan, okay, this part of the plan didn't work. And as I'm talking, I'm seeing Antonio, because when we first started, a plan didn't work. This is what we doing today. In 5 hours, that plan would have changed. Wait a minute, we just he didn't care. He didn't care. Like, oh no, that didn't work. So we're gonna do this again here. And he didn't mind. And he never minds looking stupid because he know where he's going. And so I keep hearing him as well. And I heard Renee say it, hey, I gotta look stupid because I gotta, and it was finally starting to click. Hey, you're gonna have to. It's no getting around this. You've got to learn. So, and now that I think about it, in school when I was learning, I didn't feel stupid when I was learning whatever was being taught. So, it is a mind thing. And so if you tell yourself, like if you were to tell me something right now, be and say, yeah, that hat looked like such and such, and everybody start laughing, I would feel stupid. I would laugh along with you, but I kind of go inside myself. Like, oh my God, she just made me feel, and I have to talk myself, hey, come on back, it's okay. That was her opinion. You feel like you look good in the hat, you like the hat, keep rocking the hat, do whatever. And so I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna take me a minute, okay? It ain't gonna take me all day, but it's gonna take me a minute. But but yeah, I just had to, really talk to myself and be like, hey, come on, you're gonna keep getting the same thing you got, and you don't like where you don't like what you have, so you got to do something different. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So what you just said was, what I heard was, yeah, this is how I used to feel, but now I'm working on my mindset, and that's their opinion. That's how they feel. But I'm perfectly okay with this hat, with this hairstyle, with these earrings, with this jacket, and what I wore today. I think I look fly. Therefore, forget what you say. I'm good. That's what I heard.
That's it.
Sweet. So you have learned how to have compassion for yourself. You have,
Yeah. Just after years and years of people tell you, "Yeah, relax, it ain't that serious." It'll finally kick in, you know. Yeah. That break down
and,
the wall.
and what you did was you challenged unrealistic standards. The unrealistic standards you put on yourself. You put on yourself to be perfect so you don't look stupid.
Yeah.
And you started challenging those because you didn't like how you felt. And while somebody may say something to you about it, it still feels some kind of way. But then you'd be like, okay, I acknowledge, yes, you made me feel stupid. I'm acknowledging, no, I don't like how that felt. But you know what? I look damn good today. So forget what you said. I look good. Bump you and your non-stylish self. I'm fine. You had to challenge the you had to challenge the unrealistic standards of someone else. And guess what? Transcending inconsistency is challenging unrealistic standards. Perfection, when you challenge perfectionism, you challenge unrealistic standards. If we look at the world today, there's not even just the world, but we can go as close as looking at our parents. To them, they have realistic standards for us. But to us, Mama, I love you, but them some damn unrealistic standards you putting on me. Daddy, I love you, but them damn standards right there, them unrealistic. It's not happening with this child, okay? Because we're each individuals. We each have our own individual human experience. And with that, we should all we should have compassion for ourselves and give each other a break. See, God knew who he created. He knew each and every one of us was a human experience for him. That's why he knows all, because he created all and he is all. But somewhere along the way, we put these human standards on a God experience. And we're completely destroying it. Last night, Antonio said something, and it hit me so hard. And I'm going to share it with y'all. Let me go to my little notes. So what he said, he was talking about the God experience and how each of us is different human experiences. And so what I caught on to that as an empath, which I think all of us on here are. Grace is an empath. Hers shows up different, but she's an empath. When y'all hear Grace say my harmony is off, that's her telling y'all, hey, my empathic gift is telling me something ain't right. Uncle Romy Rome, he's an empath. He mind his business until he can't sit there quiet no more. That's what he be like, okay. And when he unmute, that means somebody done pulled a little too hard.
Yeah.
He like, okay, let me help y'all. So as an empath, the gift that we have is we get to experience the different human experiences like God. Think about it. When Miss Adonia feels a certain kind of way, I can feel her human experience. When Miss Susan feels a certain way, I can feel her human experience. And if I get out of my own way, I can feel more than just her human experiences. I can feel it so much so to where it becomes words in my head. And to me, that is the greatest gift and the most exciting thing ever to realize, because there's no way that I can stay in a perfectionist mindset and get to experience different human experiences like God. But then what it also made me realize is I'm a human experience that Mr. Phil gets to experience, that Chef Jay gets to experience, that Uncle Romy Rome gets to experience. So because of that, it makes me reflect on, okay, so what type of experience do I want them to feel? Do I want them to feel the pain of a perfectionist? Or do I want them to feel the happiness of a big kid? See, when I went into that mindset, it makes you change how you think about things. There's no way I can be a perfectionist if I'm experiencing all of God's experiences, because nobody is perfect, because we're all different experiences on purpose. If we were all perfect, life would suck. If we were all perfect, we wouldn't talk to each other. I'm perfect. I don't need to talk to you. I'm perfect. I don't need to share my human experience with you. Do you realize how it breaks down the compassion and the love for society when you live in perfectionism? Because if you live in perfectionism, everything else everybody does is wrong to you. And as we have been taught, there is no wrong. There is no right. It just is. Everything Uncle Romy Rome does is right to him. Everything Melissa does is right to her. But if I'm a perfectionist, everything Uncle Romy Rome does is wrong to me. And that's not compassion. That's not love. That's not elevation. That's not awareness. That is straight, this is my world. But as an empath, we are all human experiences. And I love the human experience that is Uncle Romy Rome. And because I love the human experience that is Uncle Romy Rome, every decision he makes is right. Every decision he makes is perfect. I just get to sit back and experience it. When he feels hurt, I feel his hurt. When he feels joy, I feel his joy. When he feels peace, I feel his peace. I would rather that be the human experience that somebody gets from me, the judgmentalness of perfection, the control of perfection. I want to be perfect in allowing people to be themselves. That's the only perfection I want on earth. What I have come to realize is the greatest thing on earth is knowing that everybody is just like me. Perfectly imperfect human experiences that hurt like I hurt, think like I think, be happy like I be happy, but in their own way. And I respect and understand and love and have compassion, grace, and mercy for every human experience. What you do unto others, you do unto yourself. Who else has ever dealt with, who else suffers from perfectionism, but is working through it because you understand that perfect? Go ahead, Trinace. The floor is open. I love it. And y'all don't have to like wait for me to ask a question or anything or raise your hand. Just go ahead and unmute and start talking because I'm gonna stop talking. Trust and believe. I will stop.
Okay, so I am a perfectionist, and that's just what it is. I noticed that when I think about it, as you were talking, and the person at my window was talking, um,
36.
when you
Please
said
proceed
be,
to
I had more fun
station 9.
being when I was younger.
Ticket number.
And although I was a baby perfectionist in my 20s, I'm a
Please
big
proceed to
perfectionist now
station
because I've
22.
had so many mistakes because I've been responsible for me and other people for such a long, long time that, it have to be perfect because people are dependent on it.
Ticket number.
Now, people aren't really dependent on me.
Please proceed
People,
to
AKA my
station
children who are
20.
now adults, they don't depend on me so much. So at this point, I'm processing the point of I can't be perfect. I can only be me. And the more that I'm just being me, the happier I am and the different I interact with people. The other part of that is at work, I am a perfectionist. And the perfectionism comes with I gotta control how things operate. And it shows up with, I don't want you to hand me all of your papers at the same time. Don't shove your stuff through this window. Give me one piece of paper at a time. I act for this, not act for this, not act for this. And for me, it's controlling how I structure the paper. When I think about it, it's not really that. I want you to do what I tell you to do when I want you to do it, how I want you to do it. I am the paid professional here. You don't know anything.
So don't come up here acting like you know everything.
That's correct. So that's a part of me bringing the bracelet back because I want to go deeper in the stop correcting thing. I've gotten better with it. I've gotten a whole lot better. But some days I just slip up.
Ticket number.
I just slip up. So this bracelet is like a reminder. Hey,
Please
girl,
proceed to
get it
station
together.
8.
If these people want to shove the papers through the window, spray your hands and make that be, let that be the way they have an understanding. Don't shove all the papers through your window. Just spray your hands a whole bunch and then they'll look and then they'll change their mind about it. And
Ticket
just don't
number
say nothing. Just look. Just look.
102. Please proceed to station
But I
14.
definitely can trace the perfection because I'm the oldest child. And my mother made me responsible for a lot of stuff that I should not have been responsible for. And that's created an issue with us. The fact that other people have good relationships with their mother, that's a point of perfection for me.
Gotcha. I thank you so much for sharing because you said something. You said me trying to your perfectionism stems from you trying to control how these people give you their stuff. How many of you, I'm gonna just raise my hand because I do it too. Like I've done it to Grace. I don't think she's caught it, but I used to do it to Grace. You say, well, no, send it to me like this. Because my perfectionism was, well, no, I don't want you to send it to me how it's easier for you. I want you to send it to me how it's easier for me. But that's not fair to Grace. Because now I'm making it unnecessarily harder on Grace, and I'm having her do extra work, all because I don't feel like doing it that way. Like, how many of y'all have done that to somebody? Like, if it's easier for them this way, but that's not how you want it, because in your perfectionistic brain, it's easier for you this way. Yeah, I've done it. Hell, I've done it to Dawn.
Okay, so now you're in my area. Because because I don't intentionally do it to have people work harder, but that's definitely one of the reasons why I don't ask for help, because I know that I don't know how to do it. Now, if I have learned a certain way, because a lot of the stuff that I've learned, I'll say this, the majority of the stuff that I have learned from this community, I have never done before. So I don't know how to do it. But the concern is asking for someone to help me to get it done, but they only know how to do it the way they know how to do it. And I don't know how to undo what they have done because I've grasped it in a certain way outside of what they know how to do. So it makes it difficult for me, and that holds me back from asking. Does that make sense?
It does
It's
make
not
sense.
that I don't want to ask for help. It's that I know that there is a higher ground,
Mm-hmm.
and they're there, and I'm here, where I'm unable to grasp the way it's being sent to me. So then it may appear as if I'm being a perfectionist or arrogant, but in truth, I'm not. I don't want to make it hard for someone else. Like when Grace sends me stuff, she breaks it down for me so that I can get it done. But that's because I know Grace knows a lot about me, and she knows that I don't have the know-how like most people do. So it makes it difficult. How do you deal with that?
That is a good question, because now, Miss Sandra, you are not, that's not perfectionism. What that is you've asked people for help. Your motives behind it is not on you, because that means you've asked people for help, and because they didn't understand who you are and how you learn, they just threw stuff at you to make it, easier for them. But how do you, well,
And can I add this? This what you say?
no,
Or
go ahead.
they just don't do anything. So then I'm sitting waiting, and I don't want to get into an aggravated state in their mind where I'm begging, did you send it? Can you when? And that's aggravating, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't want to go there. And if I could get the help to find out how to do it without asking them or begging them, then I can do it. But it's like standing on quicksand for me.
Gotcha. Well, first off, kudos to you for asking Grace for help, because Grace is the greatest person you could ask for help, because Grace is a teacher. Not just like what she used to do, but her natural gift is teaching. And because her natural gift is teaching, she understands that everybody learns differently. So she pays attention to how you grasp. Like, if I've watched Grace do this, she'll send you something. If you ask for something, she'll send it to you. And then she'll listen to responses from you in either a community conversation like we're having now, or in just a personal conversation with her. She'll listen to the things you're saying and she's picking up cues on how you learn. So the next time you ask her for something, she's going to send it to you in a way for you to understand. Yeah, Grace, I caught all of that because you've done it to me. You've done it to me.
Yep. Yep. Blessings to you, Grace. I so appreciate you. If nobody else ever said it, I'm telling you now, right here in this space where it is flourishing. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. That's real talk.
That's why her notes look like they look, because she's not taking notes for her. She's taking notes for everybody else. So kudos to you, Miss Sandra, for asking the right person for help. First off.
And add that she never makes me feel as if I'm less than because I have to ask for the help. She never makes me feel like, okay, what is it? And then throw a smile on. Okay, what can I help you with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I,
She don't
and
make you
Melissa is
stupid.
another one. I don't go through that with her. And she's been on the phone with me for hours trying to help me get my stuff straight. And it just is what it is. I love this community.
Ashe, Ashe. One of the wonderful things about Grace's perfectionism, I'll put it in air quotes on purpose, is Grace don't like to feel stupid or feel like she was made a fool of. So she not gonna do it to you, because she know how that feel and she don't want you to feel the same way. And then she's a natural teacher, so she understands that if you're asking her a question, she has to teach you. So she's going to understand, okay, this is how Miss Sandra learns. Miss Sandra's a visual learner. So let me send her some YouTube videos that show her how to do it. Or Miss Sandra's a verbal learner, so let me get on the phone and walk her through it. So Miss Sandra, how you combat something like that is, I'm gonna say this. Some people are just assholes. And they don't have compassion for others because they don't have compassion for themselves. So they're not going to be patient with you because they're not patient with themselves. They don't understand how they learn, so they're not going to pay attention to how you learn. But the ones that will sit with you, that will say, okay, Miss Sandra, how do you learn? Like if they actually ask you, how do you learn? When you ask for help, they'll give it to you how you learn. Like I've actually experienced that before. I had someone telling me, yeah, no, I don't learn this way. Like I can't do it like this because that's not how I learn. Like if you walk me through it and show me how to do it, I can get it that way. Okay, so that lets me know that you're a visual learner and me sitting here on the phone walking you through something does not work for you. So let's hop on a Zoom call. Let me share my screen and I'll walk you through it that way. But I have to have compassion for other people's process. I have to have compassion for the journey of others. See, Miss Sandra's journey and Grace's journey are two different journeys. Miss Sandra's been on her journey longer than Grace has. But because Grace has compassion for others, she has compassion for Miss Sandra's journey and understands that they're in two different places in their journey. And because of that, I need to be a little more calmer and approach Miss Sandra a little more different. Grace has taught, I don't know how many, and I'm using Grace as an example because she's the perfect example. Grace is the perfect example of being a perfectionist, but releasing that perfectionism because her perfectionism was targeted towards herself. She never targeted her perfectionism towards someone else. Me, on the other hand, I pushed my perfectionism onto others because I wasn't perfect. Grace did just the opposite. She was perfect because she didn't like how it felt she didn't like how it felt a certain way when somebody made her feel stupid. So she had compassion for others and didn't want to make anybody else feel stupid. So in her perfectionism, she actually she hurt herself, but blessed others, if that makes sense. But Grace is perfect because Grace's compassion for others makes her look past the unrealistic standards. And Trinace don't like feeling stupid either. It made her look past the unrealistic standards, and it made her more open and vulnerable to the emotions of others. So she helped, she paid attention, and the fact that she is a natural teacher, her perfectionism is triggered towards herself. Like, I'm gonna be perfect so I don't look stupid. And because I don't want to look stupid, when you ask me for help, I'm gonna make sure you don't look stupid or feel stupid. Now, Grace, this is the old Grace, because Grace don't feel this way no more. That's the only reason I'm using her as an example, because she don't do this no more. Grace is okay with being perfectly imperfect, because she just told us she likes how it feels when she's learning, and she can't learn if she's being perfect. She can't learn. Grace has normalized mistakes for herself. I ain't nowhere near it, Grace. So kudos to you. Shit. I have not normalized that, but perfectionism hurts. It hurts us, it hurts others. So if we can provide resources for others, because perfectionism causes all kinds of mental issues, anxieties, stress. I bet you the most stressed person in the world is the biggest perfectionist. I'll raise my hand first. So I'll raise my hand first. But when you engage in a dialogue with others, and when you engage in a dialogue with self, you acknowledge that you're going through this, that you'll see you're not alone. One of our biggest rules here is no one suffers alone. And I get that now. Because if I'm suffering alone, I think I'm the only one. But when I go to Uncle Romy Rome and I say, Uncle Romy Rome, I'm stressing so much today. Like, I have this and that and this and that and this and that, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it. And Uncle Romy Rome be like, girl, look, let me tell you something. I love you. You know I love you. You know I love you. But I got this, and this. So we in the same boat. So what we gonna do about it? Because you're not alone. I'll be like, dang. And Uncle Romy Rome gonna break some stuff down to me. I'm gonna be sitting here like, dang. Shoot, Uncle Romy Rome got more on his plate than me. Why am I tripping? It's like, he got to provide. He take care of his wife. He got, crazy siblings, acting up. He got to deal with this and this and that and that. And I'm over here sitting because I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to eat today. How dare I? Stress. But if I was suffering alone, I would have never known what Uncle Romy Rome was going through, because I never shared with him, for him to share with me, to tell me, girl, you blessed, living your blessings. Because I'm living in mine regardless of what's going on. I would have never received that message. And and my stress would have turned to anxiety. Anxiety would turn into something else. I would start stress eating and going to get ultimate cheeseburgers every other day. And you know what? It's just not healthy. It is just not healthy. So that's why you don't suffer alone. A lot of perfectionism leaves you in your darkness. It really does, because if you're perfect, nobody's supposed to know that you're imperfect. So you don't talk about it. And the greatest thing, the greatest trick of who we refer to as the devil is to isolate you, make you think you're the only one. And once that happens, you done got. And when that's what, and Antonio used to tell me that. And I used to be like, well, that's not true. But think about it. When something hits you hard and you don't know what to do, what's the first thing you do? You isolate yourself. You stop talking to people. You become a hermit. You spend all your time at home. You don't get out. You don't. And we need other people to survive.
Okay.
Go ahead, Miss Sandra.
Okay. But what if you reaching out to people and they isolate you?
Them ain't the people for you. Those are not the people for you. See, I know. Sorry, I had to pause. I was about to say something. And I was like, no, don't say that. I know people that if I reach out to them and tell them anything about what I'm going through, my life, period, just the experiences that I'm having, the challenges that I'm going through, and even the things that the positive things I'm looking to do in the future, they would isolate me. They would isolate me because they have no compassion to what I'm doing. They can't think past what they're currently doing, and they're still stuck in their programming. But I know that if I call Miss Adanya and I say, this is what I'm going through, this is what's happening, and I don't want to do nothing, she will pull me out of my isolation with her energy because of the type of person she is, her heart, and the fact that we are like-minded individuals. Because we're not suffering alone, she's been there, done that. So she's going to tell me, hey, because we're like-minded, I've been there, I've done that. Don't do this. Take you a shower, get out the house, even if it's just to go for a walk, get out of the house.
Get out of my bedroom. I mean, Deanna, I almost felt like we were actually going through it. That's how so real and so absolutely correct you are, because I've been there. My dad had to pull me out. And my dad is a very strong Antonio Smith-like person that does not very emotional at all. But when he felt that about me, he snatched me. And when I say snatch me, not physically, but literally, he snatched me mentally and said, don't you ever suffer by your ever. I mean, and I mean stern, not, oh, poor baby. It was, if I ever have to have this conversation with you again, it won't be a good one. I mean, because I felt his fear and sorrow for me, but he's not an emotional person. So he did it in a different manner, snatched me right out of it. So, ooh, I felt that. Sorry, I feel him right now. His birthday's coming too, so I think that's part of it. But ooh, that was strong because and it's 129,000% accurate. Sorry, I had to say that. Sorry. My God.
Don't apologize. He hugging you. Sorry. He's hugging you. So Miss Sandra, when you ask for help and when you reach out, dang, Miss Adanya.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I love you, Miss Adanya. When you ask for help, Miss Sandra, and when you reach out to someone in your community, That's the importance of a community. Because when you reach out to them other people, they're not going to have compassion for you. But when you reach out to people in your community, they get it. They understand no matter what gender. Miss Sandra, you can reach out to Uncle Romy, he gonna get it. You can reach out to Mr. Phil, he gonna get it. And then Uncle Romy can reach out to Miss Susan, and she gonna get it. Mr. Phil can reach out to Trinace, and she gonna get it, because we're like-minded individuals. And that's the importance of community. That's the importance of what we're all doing here today. That strong friend, that's why that friend is strong. Because that friend has been through it and understanding, and that friend understands not suffering alone. Me and my brother have a great relationship. Like, that's my ace. He was my ride or die before I met Grace. And he still lives to this day. And when he and I talk, as we got older, like my brother used to make me cry because he used to tell me so much. And I would understand, I could understand what he was going through so much. But then as he got old, and I would talk to him, and then as he got older, he would come back to me. He's like, man, I understand this now. Man, I understand that now. And now it's to a point where he regurgitates the stuff I tell him. And I'm like, ain't nobody asked you to tell me what I told you. But then he also goes within himself now, and he has conversations with himself. But I even told him, I'm here. I understand you may not feel like talking, but I'm here. So please don't suffer by yourself, because you're not by yourself. Just like I tell Grace, me and her the same. I used to tell my brother all the time, me, you the same person. You just a dude. That's the only difference between me and you. You is a dude. So when you're going through something, talk to me. And also, because we're the same person, I know when to just send him a random text message to say, hey, I love you and I'm proud of you. Because every now and then we need to hear that. Every now and then we just need someone to tell us, I'm proud of you. I love you. You doing great. Because when we're suffering alone and we hear that, I'll speak for myself. When I'm suffering alone and I hear that, that lets me know that I can reach out to that person. That person is a safe person. So I don't have to suffer alone. And then when I ask questions like, hey, you okay today? That lets that person know this person is open. So I can not suffer alone with this person. Again, what I said earlier, one of the greatest gifts to me now, because I used to think it was a curse, but now after last night, the greatest gift to me is being an empath, because I get to experience all of God's experiences. I get to experience, I'm sorry, Antonio was sending me a message. I get to experience God's experiences like him. So now, guess what else? I get to genuinely say, no one suffers alone. And I get to let you know, hey, you're not suffering alone. You can talk to me. If you get a random text message, that means I tapped into your human experience. And you needed to hear that everything's okay and you're perfect. I needed to tap into I needed to tap into your human experience and say, hey, you okay this morning? Everything all right? How are you this morning? Because I don't just randomly, I don't do the general, hey, so how you doing? How's your day going? No, 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 no. If I'm asking you that question and I don't talk to you like that, that means I have tapped into your human experience and have realized and felt that, oh, my friend Grace needs a hug today. So let me hug her through my words. Like yesterday, and God, oh my God, God is absolutely wonderful. I was in Walmart yesterday. And this is perfection. This is leaving perfectionism. This is working through perfectionism. My phone died. Yes. It didn't feel right.
Like mine did last night on Pathbender. I was so mad. And when I tell you, Miss Sandra, it would die. It just went dead. And then I would turn it on. It was at 6%. Turn it off. Turn it back on. It was at like 7. Mind you, when I got out the vehicle to go into Walmart, I was at 79%. By the time I got to the front door of Walmart, I was at 69%. Then I called Antonio and I was talking to Antonio and I got a phone with Antonio and the phone just damn died. That part. Because I made sure my phone was charged because I was able to leave early yesterday. So I made sure that my phone was being charged while I was still at work. But when I got there to the house, how? Why? I mean, it was on 100%.
And because I gotten into this frustrating, stressed energy. My grandmother, the one I talk to y'all about all the time, the one that said, you ain't, if you worried about how dirty your house is, that grandmother, I heard her say something. And I looked up and it was her. And when I hugged her so hard, y'all, she said, okay, baby, I can't breathe. But if I was in my perfectionism, I would have never seen her and I would have never gotten the hug that I needed. If I was suffering alone, I would have never, experience would not have happened. So
that's why your phone did that. That's why certain things happen like that. So that you can experience a person or experience an event.
Right.
Or sometimes you may call to check on somebody because they may have come across your mind like I do. And I can't get no calls through. So I'm gonna call somebody and call somebody and call somebody. So I call different people. And then I can't get on the phone with nobody. I'm like, well, damn, I guess I ain't supposed to talk to nobody then. So that means that I'm supposed to be maybe meditating or maybe praying or doing something else. Nothing happened. That's how I feel about something like that. I don't like all the time being an empath. I do not. Just because I think people take advantage of the fact that I care for you. You randomly came across my mind and I called you. Or I stopped by your house. And then that makes a person feel, and I'm just generalizing, maybe it makes them feel like, well, I ain't got to call her because if I don't call her, she go call me within a certain amount of time. So that is kind of, I don't know. I think it makes people take advantage of you when you, they know that you care for them. They know that somebody cares for them like nobody else cares for them. Because that's what we do. We care for people the way that nobody else cares for them. And that's tough when nobody is caring for you at that same level. Nobody takes you into consideration at the same level. Right. Does it make me stop? No, because I'm in here making coffee for office that I don't always agree with some of the people. That don't stop me. But it infuriates me to come in here. Y'all didn't fill the ice maker up. Y'all didn't fill the Keurig up. I just came in here, the coffee maker's still on. And there's no coffee in the pot. So there are things that I like about being an empath. There was somebody at the office, her father died, and she was gone for a long period of time. And when she came back, she wasn't herself, but I felt her when she came through the door the week before last, when my back was turned. I felt her energy coming through the door. And the closer she got to me, the more I could feel it. And when I hugged her, I cried. So that I don't particularly care for all of that. Don't cry at my window. Do not cry on my phone. All of that. So that makes me put up a wall. And where people may see it as she mean, I'm not mean. I'm just trying to protect myself from your emotion. Because I don't want to feel that emotion all the time, because then I can't think.
Yeah, that does happen. I felt Miss Adonia. That's why I was like, it wasn't negative. It was just I felt her experience at that time. So yeah.
You randomly text messaged me the other day and I responded to you like last week.
Wait, say it again.
I say, I think that was you to randomly text message me last week. And I was like, I don't know who this is, but I'm going to respond.
It could have been. It could have been. It could have been. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, Mr. Antonio T. Smith Jr. has joined us because he has something he would like to show us. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to him. So the floor is yours, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, well, y'all just want to get your conference tickets, okay? Get your conference tickets. Be like Jerome. You understand? Be like Jerome. Just want to show y'all how the conference starts off, and I'll move out. Oh, hold on. Is it showing?
Yes,
Okay,
it says
okay.
ATS-TV Transportation.
Once upon a twilight in a time neither here nor there, I was birthed by the universe, cradled in cosmic care. Emerged from a womb of creation, a bundle of dreams and despair. Steeped in a cauldron of stardust, my soul was as vast as it was bare. My heart bled compassion, my vision as fast as the sea. Yearned to be the lighthouse guiding humanity free. In every tear, every sorrow, I saw an opportunity to heal, to soothe, to bring forth unity. I traveled through time, strumming chords of change. My voice echoed through the valleys across every mountain range. But the world, it was a symphony filled with notes so strange. An orchestra of souls, each playing their own exchange. And in my quest to heal, to mend the world from its ragged seams, I began to lose myself, started unraveling at the beams. My spirit frayed at the edges, warm thin like a pair of old jeans. My dreams of a healed world now silent movie scenes. I stood at the edge of the abyss, teetering on the brink, staring into the void, into the cosmic ink. My heart ached, my spirit trembled, began to sink. In the silence of the night, I couldn't help but think, was it all for naught? Did my dreams hold any worth? Was I but a mote of dust in the universe's hearth? I cried out to the cosmos, my voice full of mirth. Have I lost myself, trying to birth a new earth? Then from the abyss a whisper began to rise, a symphony of stars, a chorus in disguise. Antonio, oh Antonio, it began to harmonize. You've not lost yourself. Open your eyes. You are the universe, experiencing itself. You are not just a book on the cosmic shelf. Your existence, your being, it's wealth itself. You've already saved the world by being just yourself. My tears became stardust, my sorrow began to fade. My spirit began to heal, my frayed edges began to jade. I realized the truth, it wasn't about the world I had made, but the love, the compassion, the connections I had laid. I was not lost, but found in the echo of existence. My role was not just to change, but to offer resistance to hate, to fear, to endless distance that separated hearts, to bridge their persistence. In the grand cosmic tapestry, I was not just but a thread, yet without me, the universe was as good as dead. I smiled, my heart filled with a newfound stead. I had not lost myself. I was the world instead.
Wow, that was impressive.
Okay, so you want to do it like that?
Wow.
Okay,
What?
you want to do it like that?
Come on.
Get your conference tickets. That's all I'm gonna say. Get your conference tickets. Go ahead, you got it back.
With that being said, you can plan better. You can dominate. Hey.
Get them now while they $49. In 2 weeks, they go up to 97.
Yes.
Get them now.
Yes.
Get the video for life.
Now it's Friday, so for those of you who are part of the gaming class, we'll see you first thing in the morning at 8 a.m. For those of you who are not in the gaming class, thank you so much for joining us. You can play it better. You can dominate. We will see you all Monday morning. Love you all and have an amazing weekend.
Love you more.
Love you more.
Love you more.